Welcome back to the CyberVault. I'm thrilled to be joined by Jimmy Mesta here today. Jimmy is co-founder and CTO of RAD Security. And today we're going to break down what true agentic security actually means, why most vendors aren't even close, and how RAD Security is building something deeper. We're going to deep dive into these topics, but let's start by, Jimmy, why don't you maybe give us a little bit of an introduction to yourself first?
Sure thing. Yeah. Well, thanks for having me. I'm Jimmy, and I'm one of the founders here at RAD Security. I have a long history in the cybersecurity space. Everything from offensive pen testing style engineering to CISO roles to now starting, a company. We're approaching 4 years old, and it's a really fun time to be building right now, which is the topic of today, which is all about AI, agentic workflows, all that fun stuff. So, yeah, excited to dive in.
Awesome. Well, it's great to have you on, and we're definitely going to get into the exciting story of RAD because I think you guys are doing something pretty awesome over there. But to kickstart and to lay the foundations for the episode, because agentic AI, it's this, it's that, it's buzzword central. And I think so many people use it at this point, it's almost become an empty phrase. So, I mean, what does it actually mean? You know, if somebody's using the word agentic AI, what are they meaning by that?
I would agree with you that the meaning behind it is blurry at best. The original sort of thesis on agents and agent based workflows stem from a few white papers, and we don't have to get into that in detail. But I think that Anthropic has a really good outline of the different types of AI powered agents, and it is about automating tasks essentially, and having the ability to utilize LLMs in either parallel or in a sort of chain of succession, and the ability for these AI agents to talk to one another. So it's really more than the standard chat GPT style, prompt, ask a question, get a response. It is performing complex tasks that work together, and you're maybe mixing different models and different context windows, different RAG pipelines, and these systems work as a whole, and that applies pretty well to cybersecurity, it turns out. So yeah, I don't think there's one great definition, as with most things these days. But that's at least how we're viewing AI agents today at RAD.
No, it's really great to get the breakdown, and because this is the thing, I make the joke sometimes in security it's so full of buzzwords or just kind of like ways that people are breaking things down that I'm often like, you just need kind of whatever part of security it is for dummies, you need those yellow books because it's so complicated and complex. But you kind of hit there in terms of, I think some things that people are really going to be familiar with, or the words that they're going to recognize from that, are definitely things like chatbots, integrating LLMs, because there's just a widespread adoption of those into businesses. And I think it doesn't really matter what industry you're in or the size of the business at this point. So many companies are recognizing that whether they're adopting it internally or they're using products that are very much adopting it, it's something super common. But I think, like I've just mentioned, in the sense that not everybody really understands what it is, they also don't necessarily understand some of the traps that they may be falling into or some of the risks with it. I mean, what do you think some of the key, I suppose, challenges might be coming from the widespread adoption of things like chatbots or just kind of integrating LLMs and things like that?
Yeah, I mean, even beyond security, I think as much as LLMs have made us more productive, it's also it's a little bit of a trap to believe that every LLM response is going to be exactly what a human would expect, or even correct. Like we find that when we use LLMs internally, like they're very agreeable, and everyone's probably experienced this, where it's like, ask a question, gives a response, you say you don't like that answer, and it's like, oh, you're right, like what you said is correct. So, and you don't want that in security. necessarily to just have an agreeable sidekick. So the first trap is just assuming that an LLM's output is going to be the ground truth, and it's going to cover all, everything you need. And using LLMs without context, right, and memory, and these other things that make them more unique to your business use case. If you're just using a regular ChatGPT wrapper, around something, you're not going to get real insight, right? So I think what we've done to combat that is we've built a real full featured cloud security, runtime security platform that has 30 plus data sources, and then we natively built an AI kind of layer to encapsulate that. And that's a little different than going the other way around, because if you don't have the data in the format in sort of the style that AI expects, it's not going to work super well. And if you don't have any data, then you're just going to get answers based off of what it was trained on, which is not obviously going to work for your internal security needs. So, I think it's about data first. It's storage of that format, and then giving the agents the ability to use that data intelligently to make decisions that are unique to your business, versus a chatbot. Like, everyone can put a chatbot widget on their website, and but that's not really that's not using AI to its fullest potential.
Yeah. And I wanted to kind of dive into something a little bit more, but I mean, you started there because what you're building at RAD, I think you are doing things a little bit differently. And you're 100% correct in the sense that I think there's people are now even if you look at ChatGPT, for example, now that the responses are becoming more humanized, it sounds more human-esque than it has historically. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, it's giving me the right answer and it's giving me the right kind of input, but 100% in the sense that actually it's only had so much education and there's only so much that it knows and only so many routes to kind of the answers it's going to create. But what I actually want to get into here, Jimmy, is tell us a little bit more about what you're doing over at RAD, because you did give us a little bit of an insight there, but you are definitely doing some pretty exciting things that help fix some of those issues.
Yeah, we look at our product as an extension of your security team. So, being someone who's run security teams in the past, hiring is hard. You have these discrete sort of job titles and roles that every organization needs. And as we thought about the problem space, we looked at, what if we treat these AI agents as an extension of that team, right? Instead of just trying to sell sort of like one use case, we can come up with more sort of human centric associations to real roles. So that really stemmed from, again, building a security product first. So we had all this data. Our first foray into using AI was basically we have a runtime detection offering that is really built to find threats fast in cloud native environments, and alert the right people, triage, do all the things that it needs. But we started using LLMs as our core detection engine. And this was over a year and a half ago, which people weren't really baking LLMs into their product at that point yet, and we saw just a lot of success with the ability of an LLM, when properly presented with the right data at the right time, to find the needle in the haystack. It's just better than humans or signatures that a human could write. It sees more complex patterns. So then we kind of kept expanding that into what we call RADBot, which is our agentic natural language interface to solve security problems. And it is, it's not necessarily one Gartner category. It is an engine that lets everybody from compliance to security operations to incident response have that sort of AI layer on top of this super enriched security data, and you unlock these use cases. So um, it's really good at answering esoteric questions. It can be an assistant in a way where it can go create a pull request and fix the problem at the source, ping the right person in Jira, and create a ticket. So really trying to take security teams who are usually, they don't have enough. Nobody ever has enough security engineers. So, and make them just vastly more effective, right? Supercharge who's already there. It's not a replacement for humans or a team. It's just, let's get more done and be more effective. Similar to how we saw Cursor and other sort of AI coding frameworks change how software is built, we are trying to change how security teams get their very complex and hard job done.
Yeah. And I think this is sometimes often a bit of a misconception, especially within kind of security, in the sense that a lot of the products that are utilizing technologies like QR, and it's about kind of enhancing the productivity for some of those tasks that can be automated or can be done by AI, and ultimately allow the humans to do the human-esque side of things, and kind of go into where their value add is really, really, I suppose, valuable. But I think another thing that can be challenging, especially when it comes to adopting new technologies and bringing new systems or products in, is that people don't always necessarily understand it. And let's be honest, kind of, we've already said that security can be buzzword central. It's confusing. It can be overwhelming. Even if you're a security professional, you can look at a CISO and think, well, you can't be an expert in every single vertical within security because there's just too much. But even their security teams then are in a similar boat, that it's, you can specialize in certain aspects, but how can we make teams trust maybe what they don't understand, or when they're adopting technology like this that's going to help enhance their performance, to really recognize the value in the right kind of way?
Yeah, I mean, I remember getting into cybersecurity years ago and meeting some more seasoned folks. As I was more junior, 15 or so years ago, and I was just always I was just intimidated, right, with like the level of depth in all of these different subjects. Cybersecurity is not, there's not one facet. There's thousands of different segments and kind of little areas you could focus on, and a CISO can't know all of them. So you're correct in that. But I think if it's maybe a kind of a hot take, and I've been having these conversations a lot this week, but like if you're if you're in insecurity or a CISO and you're kind of ignoring what's happening in AI right now, or afraid to adopt new things, or try these different tools, it at least to me feels like you're going to get left behind pretty quickly, because everyone else is leveling up their own skills, their own operations, and it's worthwhile. Like I feel like we're in like a sort of generational moment that you're either in or you're not, and so it's hard, right? It's a complex landscape, but like once you unlock the fact that you can use AI to learn about AI, and you can start building full featured sort of automation workflows yourself, at least bring them to like a POC phase, it's really pretty approachable. So I would say just start having conversations. Like I use a lot of like voice to text even when I'm like on a walk or a bike ride, and I can start building software from thoughts I have in my head, right? Or like asking questions as you're driving. And that I think is, everyone's got to become a little more curious to this stuff if we're going to level each other up. So, yeah, I hopefully that answers the question, but yeah, it's overwhelming and there's a lot to learn. I don't know all of it, but I know where to go to at least find the answers.
Yeah, I know. I kind of I think the way that you broke it down there is really nice, but ultimately, it is a challenge adopting new technology. I think this was a huge thing that happened when everybody was moving to cloud. Like it's similar, but here I think it's even more impactful because it's touching everything. You know, the products are changing, the way we work is changing. But you're 100% correct. I think it's one of those that if you, whether you're a CISO or whether you're a vendor yourself, if you can't kind of implement some of these new technologies, you will become obsolete. And again, I suppose that's a case of, do you ride it out, or do you evolve with the times? But I mean, I think we've kind of, we've unpacked loads here, and it's definitely an exciting time. It's an exciting space. What do you think's next? Where do you see this industry, or kind of these kind of technologies evolving?
Yeah, it's hard to do multi anything like a year or multi-year predictions. I think are a thing of the past now, because it's been proven in the past 2 years that the pace is unpredictably fast. So I think what we're seeing now and where we're at, and I think what will be coming the norm, is basically humans are going to, at least in knowledge work, even outside of security, they're going to be deploying very specialized, performant teams of agents that do things, and they centrally report back to one place. There's different review steps, and it's all automated and all powered by AI, and ultimately the human in the loop is the conductor in that, right? And we're not actually that far from doing that in security. It's what we're building and have built at RAD in a lot of ways, and that's going to change how we hire software engineers, how we hire those kind of orchestrators, whatever that role is, our reporting structure, and like everyone's going to be focused more on like business goals versus just hiring massive teams
Yeah.
to do whatever for the sake of it. Um, and I think that's happening, or at least it's coming soon. And then this stuff's going to be embedded in parts of our lives also that we didn't expect, in the physical realm. Probably, there's going to be AI more tightly interwoven in things we do day to day, by driving, public transport, all of that will have elements of specialized models or agents that perform tasks, and it'll be ubiquitous here soon. Which sounds kind of dystopian when I say it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know how I don't know how it. You can't stop this particular train. It's only just started. So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm excited for it.
Equally as exciting as it is daunting, to be honest. But it's that's the joy of it. And to close out, then, there's probably a lot of people that have listened today and thought, well, actually, yeah, like, I'm resonating with some of the things that you're saying, Jimmy. I mean, what would you say as a piece of advice of, look, kind of, if we've hit some boxes here, this is what your focus should be. This is your next step. Kind of, take the earphones out and go and do this.
Yeah, I think for me, it's figure out what your problems are, right? And then I'm not saying your like life problems or anything like that per se, personal things, but like what are you confronted with, at your job, whatever you're doing, it's security or not, and then start having a conversation with your AI of choice, whether it's ChatGPT or Claude or anything, and start trying to problem solve with the LLM, right? And you'll be surprised at some of the results, and then you start kind of compounding onto that. Well, it's like, okay, well, those are good ideas, but how do I build it? Just have that conversation with sort of the LLM. Throw in some O3 Pro deep research pieces if you need to, and really like pick apart a problem, like figure out how to prompt effectively, and which model is good at which thing, because they're all different and have unique strengths. So yeah, it's less daunting than it seems if you just pretend like you hired a team to do it, and you're having that conversation with that team, and then ultimately you can get to the execution phase of building it. Whether it's a script or some automated spreadsheet task, or there's a lot of ways to solve the problem and get to an end result, but the LLMs can help you work through that.
No, really valuable advice there. I think it's a case of getting comfortable with the technology, isn't it? And recognizing that it's, I don't know, I think some people are scared to use it. But Jimmy, that was an awesome chat. Honestly, getting your perspective on Agentic AI, the value add, the potential risks. And it's honestly, it's been invaluable. So to our listeners, if today's episode has resonated and you want to find out a bit more about what RAD Security are doing, please do reach out to Jimmy or the team. As you can probably tell from the episode, he well and truly knows his stuff. So yeah, it's been a pleasure, Jimmy. To our listeners, as always, don't forget to subscribe. Make sure to share this episode with your security peers and get connected with us on LinkedIn. But that's it for today. So thank you for tuning in, and I'll see you next time for more conversations on shaping cyber.